I am too old for this shit. Way too fucking old. Welcome to the Browns postgame show.
Okay, Danny Glover.
This is just too, finally somebody agrees with me. And I've been telling you this for the longest time. He's not even hurt. You don't want to play. And fuck him. He's a front runner. And, and this is what the Browns fans are going to be saying, and rightfully so.
How are the Orange Pants? They win another one.
Here's another one. What the hell have these coaches been doing? Why hasn't Higgins been playing? You take away something that is of comfort to Baker Mayfield. And when you give him
those were some goddamn ridiculous catches when it counted.
I mean, everything was pretty well ridiculous. Joining us on the panel today, Tony the Calf, Brian, and Hammer Time from Columbus, Ohio. And, it's up to me, I guess, to start this whole proceedings off. And the first thing is that there's so many things. I mean, whether it was Terrence Mitchell dropping and the interception that would have probably sealed the game earlier, to lining up in the most bizarre front I've ever seen, with only one person over the center and nobody over the center of the field, allowing Joe Burrow to eyesight read a quarterback draw to get them a first down. Sendejo on the touchdown pass to Giovanni Bernardo. That was incredible. The guy goes into motion, and you know that the only reason he's going into motion is to start the fucking play going in that direction. And Sendejo overreacts and runs right off the screen with the goddamn motion. And so Bernardo easily gets back, and Sendejo misses his coverage. The defense is just bad. And the Bengals, this is the only team I think we could have beaten this week, playing the way we played. And,
possibly the Jets.
Yeah, and yes, I will leave up the halftime show, because the coach obviously said exactly what I said at halftime, because the whole team offense came out completely flat like whipped puppies, and you can't do that in the NFL. Maybe you can in the end against the Bengals right now, but you can't do it against, any team that's worth its weight. And, in the second half, Baker Mayfield, did he throw an incompletion in the second half at all?
Only when he clocked the ball.
Okay, thank you.
That was the only one.
The other incompletion was a penalty.
Yeah, it was 21 straight, or 20 straight passes. Then he clocked the ball.
The 20. Just an unbelievable second half performance by the quarterback, who looked totally without confidence. But I honestly believe that Odell Beckham should never be on the field again for the Cleveland Browns. He is a negative influence, and we need people who can work, who are willing to work. And he wasn't hurt that bad on that play. I saw J.C. Treader wrench his knee and get up and play. For God's sakes, imagine calling another Landry pitch out pass when the guy's got fucked up broken rib, and he's under pressure and wide open when he throws the ball and gets railed right in the ribs. He comes back out on the field and plays. Fucking OBJ, he's a big pussy. And he's a New York Giant. Fuck him. Get rid of him. The fact of the matter is, we wondered about Higgins, and Higgins was only getting a few plays a game. But look who came up large and saved their ass along with Baker Mayfield, the guy he has chemistry with. And, and again, people will ask, well, what is the story with Baker Mayfield? And the story is, he's an emotional guy, and he is ruled by emotion, good and bad. And he came out in this game really bad, and he was really down, and the whole offense was down, and Beckham is a complete downer. And it seems like once he got his lucky charm, he got Higgins in the game. He found him all over the field. And Higgins isn't that fast, but he's actually running discernible patterns. The play that Beckham allegedly got hurt on, he wasn't even looking for the ball. He didn't even come back to the ball. Fuck him. To Beckham, the season ended once they lost to the Steelers. Well, we are 5-2. We are 5-2. We may not say it was pretty. And there's Spinner Dave. Are you too fucking old for this too, Dave? No, Dave doesn't have his headset on. Dave's got his. He's got his.
Dave's not here, man.
Spinner Dave here.
Some of us are old enough to know.
Are you going, Dave? Are you going skinhead on us? No, we've seen too many games like this end the other way, and Cincinnati fans are. You know what was so funny? They ran the ball to try and made us use all of our timeouts, and the Cincinnati fans. Did you see them in the stadium? There are about 4,000 of them separated, and there was still 1:06 left on the clock after their touchdown, and they did. I could have sworn I saw a pan of the stadium and the fans going, yeah, when they saw still that there was 1:06 left in the game, even though the Browns had no timeouts. I mean, this was a game of defensive ineptitude. My God, of mammoth proportions. And, the Browns had to go to and the other thing that's interesting, they went to, and I hate to say this, they did what Clay Jackson suggested, and they basically went into the empty backfield shotgun, and Baker just ripped the ball down the field, and Harrison Bryant came out big in the second half. The young players, Donovan Peoples-Jones, look, he can't return kickoffs, okay? But I'll tell you, that touchdown catch was...
Oh, that was money. That was money right there. Especially getting the feet down, like you said, Mo. That was the part that was amazing, because I first saw it. I go, "There's no way he's in bounds," and of course the ref was right there. So,
well, and that's what I said too. From the angle that was shown, it's like there's just no way he got that other foot down, and to see how he did it, that was impressive. I mean, that was really impressive. So that's great news. Then seeing Higgins come back and play and make a positive contribution. And, and watching Baker get fired up and hulking up on the field, it's like, the funny thing about this is in the past, if a team like the Bengals had lost every close game they were in and they wanted to cure all their ills, it would come against the Browns. All right. That's basically what it amounts to. I mean, the Cleveland Browns are like instant remission from cancer. Okay. I know it's a horrible way of putting it, folks, but the bottom line is we sat here and watched the Browns give life to teams. And we gave life to Cincinnati in this game by dropping, interceptions and, all of that. And I can't be sure. I would imagine that these particular people who are trying to get into the studio, I don't know. Should we give one a shot just for the fun of it?
Why not? It's a victory.
Yeah, we won.
I'm in a good mood.
AFC North fan, we won. You're on the air.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There we go. All right. There we go.
Nice.
Whoa. Whoa.
So there you go. And here's somebody who claims to want to come in as well. And hey, Steph, you're on the air. Steph, I saw your face. Now I'm a believer. All right, Steph, are you with us or are you without us? Steph is.
Yeah, more the same.
Oh, there you go. But it doesn't matter. We're banning these people from the studio. And that's what we did to the Bengals, folks. That's what we did to their defense.
DP's the Bengals defense.
We railed them. You gotta love it.
Oh.
Hey, we may not have any DBs worth a damn, but we sure as hell can DP. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. But let's start with Tony the Calf. You were here waiting first. Give me the top 3 emotions you're feeling right now.
Be still, my fucking wandering heart. I didn't fucking overcome COVID to deal with this shit. God damn. Oh, fuck. I mean, talk about, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. When, we've been friends for 17 plus years, Mark, and
Yeah.
when Burrow scored that touchdown to Bernard with 1:06 left, I'm like, fuck, here we go. And then Baker Mayfield if you would have told me bet every fucking penny you have on Donovan Peoples-Jones to make that touchdown reception, I would have kicked you in the fucking dick and stolen your wallet. I mean, what in... I've never seen this from a Browns team. They're making Peoples-Jones, he's 6th round pick. He's probably not going to become much. But my God.
He sure had his moment, didn't he?
He had his moment in the sun. God damn.
There's definitely a reason why this guy's in the league, man. That was a play. That was definitely a play. Oh my gosh.
But again, all part of this equation is how quickly it's almost like multiple personality, Rare Breed. I mean, good to see you on the show, Rare Breed. It looked like 2018 Baker with Higgins.
And I thought for sure they were just going to play for the field goal.
Yeah, I mean,
go for the tie.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, first half Baker looked like the baker down the road who makes really good key lime pie, but is not a professional quarterback. The second half Baker, like Rare Breed saying, looked like the guy that brought us to victories in the past. So, yeah, right, Daniel. We'll take a second win when he's not the head coach of the Browns. That's the truth. Peoples-Jones did. He made a few catches. And how many yards? I'm going to ask Hammer Time. How many yards did Higgins grab? What were his receptions totaling?
Oh, I haven't pulled that up yet, but darn I will here. But
hold on.
Yeah,
somebody will in the chat room or on the panel. I mean, right now 5-2 sounds like it was just impossible.
Higgins 6 catches, 110 yards, 6 targets. 18.3 average, 30 yard long. So,
and that's a typical Higgins from 2018, just like Rare Breed said. That was that type of thing that he did back at that time, where he just caught everything that was thrown in his general direction.
Well, look, when Landry threw that option pass, honestly, he got hurt. He didn't see the ball for the rest of the game. I mean, to put it on.
I think he was telling him in the huddle, look, man, I can't reach with that arm anymore, so don't even bother throwing me the ball.
I agree. I mean, but that's the thing that's amazing about it. I mean, Rick saying with OBJ gone, Baker didn't feel like he was obligated to throw to only him. Yeah, but he didn't even have Landry to throw to. The amazing thing is, he basically got this done with Kareem Hunt out of the backfield. He didn't throw to Harrison Barnes later on. No, Harrison Bryant. I wouldn't throw to Harrison Barnes if he had an open 3 either. Carlson was like, I'm open. I don't even know if Carlson was on the field. And he made his living with Donovan Peoples-Jones and Rashard Higgins. That's remarkable.
Well, and he nailed that really tight pass to the Chief too, that was a hell of a play as well. I mean, what a difference. I mean, we pretty much had written this guy off for the NFL at halftime, I mean, between you and everybody in the chat room, we're like, this guy has no chance. And what I think this showed us is, there's this part at the top of the NFL and there's this part at the bottom. We're now solidly in this middle section. and we're pounding on the door. We can't quite get over there.
Oh, yeah, no defense. Our defense is not going to stop anybody. So, I mean, look, it's no coincidence that when we lose, it's like, I rarely lose, but when I do lose, I lose by 35 points. Here's Bronk. How you doing, Bronk? and yeah.
Hey, before you
were great. Stefanski's play calls were great. Maybe looking at the second half when he had no other choice. He had no other choice but to throw the football down the field. There was no, I'll say this: why did Stefanski use up his second to last timeout with 2:06 left? When Harrison went down with what appeared to be some kind of a calf issue, why did the Browns stop the clock there instead of just letting it go to the 2-minute warning?
I think the thought was they got that extra timeout. That extra timeout with the 2-minute warning was.
But they knew the only way that they were going to have a chance.
Well, isn't there a rule that they have to call timeout?
The injury timeout. That's what I'm asking.
But that's under 2 minutes, I think, Brian.
Yeah. So I mean, it really surprised me because it wiped out all the timeouts for. And it still didn't matter. The
Bengals, so it don't matter. It's the fucking Bengals.
God, it's just Mogambi is waking up to a new world. This is like Bizarro world. When Donovan Peoples-Jones beats you downfield, leaps up, and makes a Calvin Johnson touchdown reception. I mean, it's like, I swear to God, that was better than Dwight Clark's catch. Okay, I mean. The circumstance was a little less dramatic, but the catch was actually a better catch. Unreal.
By the way, Parkey's missed field goal ended up giving the point spread win to the Bengals.
Yeah, I lost $50 on that. Thanks, Cody Parkey.
Because that would have been a push otherwise. I'm like, damn.
The final pass of the game got tipped up in the air, and it hit Sheldon Redwine in the chest. And, I would have fucking died because if Sheldon Redwine wasn't there to block it with his chest, because God only knows he can't get it. Who would have gotten it? Right behind him was A.J. Green, honest to God.
And darn well he would have caught that ball.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing wasn't over until it was over. And then the ridiculous kickoff that just gave them the ball to guarantee that Burrow could throw it just far enough to get it into the end zone. I mean, it's like, I'm just stunned at both teams trying to figure out what are they dialing up. What's up, Bronk?
Can I say whether anybody else was thinking Red Right 88 in that last minute, or was it only me?
No, actually, I was thinking. I was expecting at some point in time. I kind of could hear you yelling, "OBJ is a pussy," but I mean, it's at the top of your lungs. But for whatever reason,
that's true. And to me, OBJ is everything that's wrong with professional football. And it was like the Bengals had a chance to get the Browns off the field on a third down, and the guy lined up for Cincinnati. Lawson lined up way offsides. I mean, if he just would have lifted his head, he would have seen he was in Sharonville, Ohio.
He wasn't social distancing.
I mean, and that was an incomplete pass. They tried to throw to Peoples-Jones, and that would have stopped the Browns. But no. Yeah. We end up with both teams just trying to figure out a way. Miles Garrett doing the same thing and jumping off sides for no apparent reason. Just crazy stuff.
So what's the Peter Alice play of the game? Is it going to be the winning touchdown, or is it going to be what's it going to be?
Well, it can only be one thing, and that's the overall picture. And here we go. Oh, fans of Cincinnati, you thought you had it in the bag, but nothing's in the bag. If you were Santa Claus, it would be empty, the bag. If you married an ugly woman, the bag would be empty. Oh, you have it won. It's down to 16 seconds after a spike, and the next thing you know, How do you allow a slow wide receiver who's never caught a touchdown pass to beat you down the field and play Nureyev? Oh, Cincinnati. Oh, you've just had the Hugh Jackson torch passed on to you. That would really be the way I mean, if you're a Bengals fan, we know all too well. Can you imagine? Let's do this. Wait, this will be fun.
Oh, before you
wait. This will take us
time machine.
Welcome to the Bengals post-game show. I'm your host, Hey, Big and Furry Bison. Well, just another loss. We figure out new ways to do it every week, and poor Joe Burrow, you know what? They're going to make a loser out of Joe. Okay, well, we'll go back.
And I'm never doing a post-game show ever again because this team never wins.
and actually, the radio broadcast crew for the Bengals are the biggest homers in the world. They are Dave Lapham lives and dies, and he'll be like, oh, I'm sure he was just crying. I just can't wait to hear the replay of the scores. I'm like, I kind of want to go over and turn my radio on just to hear that part of it, because I know he's going to be just bawling on the sideline. We had this. Oh,
yeah, the Cincinnati broadcast. Did you hear the Cincinnati broadcast call?
No, they have it. I mean, here in Columbus, they have both of them on the radio. Actually, they have somebody that has the freaking Squealers broadcast team on as well, so we can actually get all three of those live.
Reason I was a little late getting on is I wanted to hear that call, and it was like, Mayfield to throw. He throws to Peoples Jones. That was basically Rare Breed, why don't you come back on the show? Because I could be looking at a woman who is very amply set in the bosom in the background while you're on. Forget it. I like those days better. But your comments are interesting. We got to mix our defenses somehow. The problem is that you can imagine if we're exposed in zone, how we would be exposed in man-to-man. And, this is like, it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube that was intentionally constructed to have no solution. And what it did is it drove people crazy because they just kept going like this, and then the fucking colors never lined up. That's what our defense is. It's a huge problem.
We're terrible.
Well, and think of the fact that you have two of the planned starters this year are basically have been out for the season, more or less. Greedy hasn't played at all, and the planned starting
and Grant Delpit.
Exactly. So I mean, the fact that they're doing this with Sendejo back there, for God's sake, is not surprising. That the only person that can cover anyone half the time is Ward, because. My gosh, everybody else is a freaking crapshoot. The fact that Burrow just continuously found open people over and over and over and over, just throwing underneath. I'm just like, they can't stop it. Unless they get pressure on him or whatever, or they drop a ball. It was just, oh my god.
That tight end, that Sample, or he's nothing in the NFL, and the Browns made him look like fucking George Kittle.
Yeah. I mean, what was amazing? What was amazing? That guy Sample, he's a human moving van. He's so slow. And, no, I'm serious.
And he was getting chunks of yards at a fucking time.
But did you see the play where they ran the pick and literally held Mac Wilson in the pick? And Mac still caught up to him and broke up. Oh, man. That guy is slow because it's not like Mac Wilson can flat out, fly. Now, how can we replace Sendejo?
I think
very carefully.
You're incompetent.
He's played every single snap of every game.
Back in the Old West, there used to be a wooden Indian standing outside of every drugstore. That would work.
Yeah.
Old Chief Woodenhead.
A cigar store Indian, yes. It's, and Jovan's, Baker is not the problem. He's the solution. Baker has to come out, and if he's going to play with hurt ribs, he's got to come out and play full bore. he can't come out like he did today against a good team. The game would be over before it began. And after 3 years in the NFL, Baker Mayfield should know that it's one thing to make a dramatic comeback, but it's more important to learn how to play 4 solid quarters of football. And we're still not seeing that from Baker Mayfield. So I'm not going to tell you that Baker was the problem, because Baker turned out to save bacon in the second half. But I will also say that the beginning of the game, when we could have gotten on top of the horse and ridden it, he was nowhere to be found, and he would look like he was not even warmed up and ready to play. And it looked like he was still hung over as far as that last loss, and he was still lost in the past.
Well, I can tell you why that is.
Why?
Odell Beckham Jr. He doesn't fit. Trade him immediately. As soon as he went out of the game, instead of 0 for 5 with an interception, he went 21 for 21 for 5 TDs and 250 yards.
I agree. I think we all agree that the chemistry has never been there, and there is not, the thing about a guy like OBJ, when he's in a big market like New York, he can get attention anytime he wants to get attention. But with the Browns, most of the attention you get is bad attention. All right. So now Mary Kay Cabbagehead is going to have to do some splaining, because, they all basically ran over Baker with Sample the moving van. The bottom line here is that he has no confidence in Beckham, and Beckham doesn't really want to be anything but the center of attention. And this offense is designed, and if nothing else, what the second half shows us is it's designed to go to other people besides Landry and besides OBJ. And what's important is that Baker has some kind of chemistry with the receivers that are on the field. And it's never happened with Beckham. And what I would do is I would put him on the IR. Shut his ass up.
He ain't hurt. Beckham ain't hurt. He faked that.
Put him on the IR.
Supposedly he's having an MRI.
The trade deadline coming up. Trade him. Get what you can for him.
Yeah, I think that he's just not a fit as well. And another thing is he's soft.
Yeah,
he's soft. He doesn't. Now Landry, that guy is a man. Okay, Landry. My goodness. He's taking punishment left and right, and he's out there really doing everything he could do to win that football game. And to see, OBJ doing the, I got a little bruise on my knee thing, I would be happy if it was a torn ACL. We don't have to see him anymore. Honest to God.
Right.
I don't want to see him on the field, because we've got to work reps with receivers where there is a chance of chemistry being developed. And it's a great confidence builder for Peoples-Jones for no other reason than the way this roster was constructed. The third wide receiver has just not been much of an option. Harrison Bryant is a guy who is good. And, and that's without Hooper. And that's nice to see. It's nice to see that other guys were stepping up. And Njoku really is an afterthought now. If it weren't for an appendicitis attack, you're set at tight end without Njoku. So you can get something defensively for Njoku, and you can get something defensively for OBJ. It ain't going to be much, but it's got to be better than Sendejo.
Linebackers and safeties, please.
Something that prevents teams from just going up and down the field like this. So, no one's suggesting that.
What's Njoku's contract situation?
He just wants to be traded. I really don't know.
Is he like a free agent coming up or something?
Not sure. I know all I see from Higgins is he gets open. He's always open. Higgins always open. He should be playing.
I thought Njoku signed a 2 or 3 year extension last year.
Yeah, he would have to be traded. That we know. And with the trade deadline coming up, right now you got to do something to shore up the personnel in your defense, because it's not working. And the pass rush stopped on Burrow. Burrow was getting the ball out quick because there's somebody always open. There's loose coverage. And
look how they handled the blitz. They always threw away from the blitzing side and had a guy wide the hell open.
Well, I mean, look, the fact is, when the Browns were selling out it was frantic. They were just totally frantic because they couldn't stop anything. So they were just sending, the kitchen sink in. They were just throwing to the tight end, just letting him break off the pattern and just throwing it to the top. And it's getting 7-8 yards. And the ball was out of his hands so quick, nobody was going to get to him. So, the thing that I don't understand, and maybe Joe Woods can come on, and talk about how you allow an 11-yard quarterback draw on a play where you don't line but one player over center, and what the point of that was when you allow a rookie to sight read you to that degree. I mean, what the hell is that?
And I saw that coming. I knew that was the call.
Well, I mean, hell, anyone could see that. I mean, Joe Burrow was like, his eyes got wide, And I'm sitting there going, I can't believe it. They just, I think the idea was if he was going to try that somebody would actually tackle him. Another thing is Sheldrick Redwine. Why in the hell is he trying to tackle with his shoulder and not wrapping people up? I mean, Higgins bounced off him like a pinball, off a bumper in a pinball machine right into the end zone. I mean, this is not the football that the Browns are coaching. And the players, if they can't execute, they shouldn't be on the roster,
Jim Mora would say he's probably in favor of executing them. So
yeah, exactly right. There's a load of places that OBJ could fit in just fine. Somebody who's got a big time winning record, who's got positive national press. And then he can make a big play for them, and he can then stand in front of the camera and jerk off with both hands. And that would be his dream. But we don't need that. We need guys who are just going to put their heads down and work. And if nothing else, Rashard Higgins, who got into a couple of shoving matches on the field, and he's got to watch his temper. One thing I can tell you, he didn't quit. And God only knows he's been through horse shit, just absolute horse shit.
Landry was having issues with the same fucking guy too.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the thing is,
so they were grabbing, they were doing something, and it was going beyond the whistle.
And Higgins is a guy who it looked like he was going to be a real fit, and then Freddie Kitchens just put him into no man's land, and then he was just forgotten in a limited 3 wide receiver kind of situation. Give him his rep. The man has proven that he can fight through adversity, and he can help you win an important game. I mean, the difference between 4-3 and 5-2 is tremendous. Nobody is saying that the Cleveland Browns are a big-time playoff team. Nobody harbors any belief that the Browns, even if they sneaked into the playoffs, are going to pull some great upset against a better football team. Right now, we're trying to get as many wins as we can. And it literally is what Stefanski says. It's going 1-0 every week. And, the first thing that you're going to hear Stefanski say, I'm sure, is not quite the way we drew it up, but a win's a win.
And there are, as a reminder to the fans, there are still 5 winnable games on the schedule. So,
yeah, I mean, there's every possibility that the team could win, but again, if you play like we
and
played,
that's still losing, and that's taking into account still losing to the powerhouses, the Steelers, the Titans, and the Ravens.
Well, I'm thinking on that note, I think there's 5 games where they'll be favored, let alone, and there's a possibility there could be more that they could win, because if we split against the Raiders and Texans, which would be fantastic, they're going to be favored over the Eagles, the Jags. They're going to be favored over the Giants and the Jets. So there's 4 right there that are there. Those are should win games. So the question then is that can they split between the Texans and the Raiders, and that gives you a 10-win season. Oh my God.
Yeah, right. And, but the thing is, and I recognize that this is not the way, I mean, it's exciting. It's not the way you really want to win. against a team that is struggling like Cincinnati, there's no reason why you come out as flat as you did. And like I said at halftime, had it been any other team, we would have been buried in an avalanche playing the way we played in the first half. And it was the Bengals who eked out a 17-10 lead at the half. And the Browns played half of a football game and ended up beating them.
It was really just the first quarter looked bad, but second quarter, I think they played a little better.
Well, I mean, I guess the way I look at the whole thing is teams aren't going to let you back in, not on a consistent level, that's for sure. So
at least our next 3 games are at home.
Yeah, well, Derek Carr is capable of blowing 400 on us, next week. So you got to outscore the Raiders.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Ian Rappaport, Browns wide receiver Odell Beckham, who was knocked out of the game today, is feared to have suffered a major knee injury. He'll have MRI in the morning and perhaps will be some better news. But early indications are not good.
That's good news.
So you got your wish, Moo.
So maybe he wasn't faking, but that's better for us.
Well, I mean,
so that could be like an MCL tear because you can still walk on your with an MCL
well,
tear.
I've seen people walk with ACL tears. Believe me, I tore my ACL. I would play tennis without an ACL. Now you can't play legitimate, professional sports, but yeah, you can walk off a field without an ACL because your PCL theoretically can hold your weight, and then your outside ligaments, your LCL can also, and MCL can hold you in place. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, go back to that interception where Beckham runs after the guy and then sort of flails away like a headless chicken and then bounces up in the air. It was all because he was miffed or shown up on the
play. He hit the guy. He hit the guy in the helmet who had intercepted the pass.
Exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't wrapping anybody up.
It was his fault he got hurt, basically.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he was supposed to be a big play guy. He's not a big play guy. He and Baker don't see eye to eye. He's not open on the field, and if he is, and he's not seen, he complains to the whole world, for the whole world to see. Wrong fit for a blue-collar town, blue-collar football, and Stefanski's offensive scheme. We just don't need it. And Rare Breed is saying that the linebackers are not built to play this zone coverage. They don't understand it.
We haven't had any linebackers to do that for ages. We've been trying to draft them, and we miss.
I mean, watching the outside screen passes and watching the lack of reaction by our linebackers. I mean, Goodson and Mac Wilson, and then Taki. And watching these guys, there's no flow to the play. They're just standing staring in the backfield.
Best guy for that is probably Phillips. He's the one who's hurt, so he's probably the best cover guy. So it sucks. It's really appalling. We're gonna get lit up next week, big time.
Well, I mean, there was nothing that frightened Joe Burrow. There was no element of confusion to our zone coverage. I mean, it's one thing if you can hide a zone coverage or whatever. There was nothing we were hiding. He was finding what he needed to find. The thing that was amazing, when he dropped the fucking snap and he picked the ball up and threw it, and A.J. Green damn near caught it in the end zone.
Well, that's like Hall of Fame stuff.
And that was if it weren't for a great play by Denzel Ward, that would have been a touchdown.
That's right.
And the Browns lose today.
That's right. That's the difference in the game right there. They had to settle for 3 instead of 7. And that's what made the seesaw go back and forth. They would go up by we'd go up by 4, they'd go up by 3, and then we went up by 3 because Parkey again had Parkinson's.
He's been great this year though. 12 for 12 on extra points before that, and 8 for 8 for field goals. So it's a lot better than what we had.
Yeah, we'll see what it counts. He does. I'm not so sure. Yes, Cindy. There's no doubt. There is some man love going on between Baker and Higgins, and that's an I told you so moment for Rashard Higgins. No doubt about that. Yeah, there you go. There's your mathematics.
Oh, and before we get too far, shout out to Bronk for having the closest score.
26-19, he called it, and
29,
36 to 29.
36-29. Yeah, and what did I call this game?
27 to 20.
And now I'm calling it dumb luck. Thank God it was Cincinnati.
Well, this game had overtime written all over it. We're just like not good enough to separate from these teams. Yeah.
Not yet. We need defense, because the defense has to get teams off the field. Because you saw once Baker got into a rhythm, it becomes very different for him. But the defense, he's sitting on the bench for long periods of time because the defense just can't stop anybody.
But they ran hurry up. Cincinnati ran hurry up, which is our kryptonite. We cannot stop a team that runs plays quickly.
Cincinnati did not punt once today.
Not at all.
Not once. Now, that an inordinate.
The problem is we can't stop a team that runs plays slowly.
Well, that's
either.
true too. But
you can't really blame Baker in that regard. I mean, it's kind of hard to put up points when you don't even have the ball in your hands, and it puts pressure on you when you do get your hands on the ball, because any mistake you make is magnified because your defense can't stop anybody.
Well, we've turned into the Cleveland Indians, where Baker is like our starting pitching. It has to be absolutely perfect for us to win the game, because he knows that he's not going to get any help from the other side of the team.
Well, more so than that, and this is a good comment by Jacob Leslie. I mean, it's Freddie Kitchens plus OBJ. And see, when you get the name player, that OBJ has to play, right? Even if he's not playing, even if he's not working hard, even that's the name, the guy who makes the one-handed catches, the guy who was a human highlight reel when he was in New York. That guy has to play. And we've seen it in sports, not just football, but in all kinds of sports. We've seen it on the baseball field where, you get a big free agent and the guy just becomes a bust, but it takes forever to get him off the field because you're paying him this money and you're not going to just. And that's the thing. Higgins, it was no man's land. He's not worth a dime to the organization, really. And OBJ was a major investment by the organization, and you just keep riding the lame horse. And he's literally a lame horse now. And
you can't have a guy making $15 million a year on the bench. Come on.
Well, he is sort of like Nick Swisher.
Yeah, it's and rare breed comes back unless you have good coverage linebackers. Yeah, and again. But this linebacker argument has gone on, and it's
20 years. 20 fucking years we've talked about it.
What's annoying about it is that the Steelers and the Ravens keep finding good ones.
God.
It's not like they're not there, and they're drafting in a better position than we are in a worse.
Well, we've worked on our offense now. Now, this next offseason, I think they'll definitely go for the defense.
Yeah, and Joe Woods, if he's going to keep his job, you better get better personnel on the field, because whatever they're trying to do, it ain't happening.
Well, he's working with sticky tape and plastic out there.
I just cannot stand to see Sindablo anymore.
I don't think anybody
play every single snap. I think he's going to play every snap this season just to spite us all.
And again, Rare Breed is absolutely right. You can only beat who they put in front of you, and it was just like the whole Rocky Marciano and the heavyweight champion of the world argument that he didn't fight anybody. Well, his time in history, he was fighting Rex Lane, and he was fighting blown up light heavyweights like Archie Moore when he was old already. He was fighting Roland Lastarza. These are the guys who Marciano fought, and he retired so he wouldn't have to fight Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston would have knocked him into some other dimension.
What a history lesson there, man! That was beautiful. I can't stop smiling with all those names. I'm like,
yeah,
I think the same thing. I think the same thing of Larry Holmes is his tenure as a heavyweight champ. There was just tomato can after tomato can. There was nobody there in his class. The good people that were there before him were at the end of their career, and he just never had anybody to make.
Only beat what they put in front of you. And, for him, it was terrible Tim Witherspoon, who was probably one of his toughest battles for Larry Holmes. He got knocked senseless by Ronaldo Snipes, of all people, but ended up TKO Snipes, who couldn't fight. There are a lot of guys he fought who just weren't particularly good. I mean, fighting Michael Dokes after Michael Dokes was drug addicted and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, you beat who's in front of you. The greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, would beat Sonny Liston. He would beat George Foreman. He would beat Joe Frazier 2 out of 3 times. That's the way it works. And he would get his title back against the toothless one, Leon Spinks. That is how you become the greatest of all time, is you fight a who's who. And the thing is, Muhammad Ali fought those great guys, but in between there was Jean-Pierre Koopman, and there was Henry Cooper, and there was all kinds of people who were just...
What's the guy he fought at the Coliseum, the Bayonne Bleeder or whatever, or no, Chuck Wepner, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were a whole series of them that were just head scratchers. It's like, that guy's not very good, But in the end, you beat who's in front of you. So I'm not going to use the argument that we're 5-2 because our schedule sucks. We used to lose games like this all the time, and we're winning them this year.
You want to see the Rocky Marciano guys? That's who he beat. There's some real nubbins in there.
Tomato cans is what they used to call them in boxing. Yeah. And the same thing is true today. I mean, I don't think that Deontay Wilder, I mean, if you can't beat Tyson Fury, you're not very good, okay? The truth of the matter is that you beat who they put in front of you, and if you can't, I mean, that's why Lennox Lewis, to me, is not in the class of, some of the really great guys. Even Evander Holyfield, who was an overachiever and beat, Mike Tyson. He beat George Foreman, an older George Foreman, but he beat bigger men. He had a big heart, Guys like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, it's like, and even Lennox Lewis got knocked cold by Hasim Rahman. I mean, playing around on the ropes, he gets caught with one punch and he's out like a light. You never saw the greatest of all time getting knocked out cold and having to be, dragged back to his corner. The Browns are winning these games, and we are 5-2. And of course, we have a ways to go. And our defense is a dumpster fire. There's no question. All of these things are true.
We're easily the worst 5-2 team out there.
Cindy says, I hope they keep talking shit about Baker because he always seems to play his best when he's, under the microscope. He didn't come out that way, though. And I think that you get this week after week, month after month, year after year in Cleveland, and it really is a grind. It's really difficult to do. And I think nobody has been able to successfully do that, and I think everybody wants to see this, but the reason that they're better teams, I take it that Pittsburgh held on against the Titans.
They did.
Yeah. They won by 3.
Yeah. I mean, and, the fact is they got off to a start and they were beating the Titans around like little redheaded stepchildren. I mean, it was. So, these are good teams. And when you say better teams, we're going to play better teams than Cincinnati, and we'll have a chance to beat those better teams. But don't be talking about the Ravens and the Steelers because we're not going to beat those teams. We don't have the balance yet. We keep saying this week after week. I'm just thrilled. Every week we get by with winning.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, I'm, and I guess Mark is watching Kansas City. Well, the weather in Denver, they were shoveling snow off the field out there.
Snowstorm out there right now.
And so what's the score in that KC game?
7-6, I think.
Wow. I mean, you know.
I don't know. I'm watching Tampa Bay and Las Vegas is a good one going right now. 14-10 Bucks.
And you know, again, this is what I was saying last week, and it's what I said to Mary Kay Cabbagehead. You know, and she writes this stupid article saying, "Well, the Browns are going to give him the remaining 10 games." It's like, well, here, I got something in my trousers I'd like to give you, Mary Kay. I mean, please. I mean, you know, of course they're going to.
Don't do it, Moo. You'll never get rid of the sauerkraut smell.
Oh, God Almighty! Pickle barrel.
$79.99 a year to read that shit. That's amazing.
Well, at least Mayfield broke a record today.
Yeah.
22 straight completions, or whatever it was.
This is Baker's first year with legit head coach. Yep. And I agree, but he can't afford to come out like he did today. I mean, you cannot say to the press before the game, these ribs haven't improved any. I mean, you want somebody to smell blood? I mean, the Bengals only have a pass rush you well saw.
Well, at least he's being honest.
He's being honest, but that's not the kind of honesty we need. You shut it up. You shut the fuck up. Unless you're duping somebody, but he came out on the field and he was not ready to throw. And that is troubling.
Well, when you got them, when you're injured like that, you got to warm it up a little bit. So it took him 5 passes. No big deal.
Yeah, well, it was 5
and that extra shot that he got.
Yeah. North Dallas 40 shot in the ribs.
A couple more of those. Fortunately, they didn't deflate his lung like they did to poor Tyrod Taylor. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Browns have gotten quarterbacks injured in so many ways, and I'm convinced that Tim Couch doesn't even know what year it is right now. And I think he's on his knees crying still. I mean, the things that have happened to Browns quarterbacks, I mean, they're never heard from again. It's really a frightening thing. I mean,
well, I'm surprised he hasn't Dave Draveki'd his right arm yet.
You know, and Garcia, I mean, whatever happened to him? I mean, there's just a litany. The Brandon Whedons of the world. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Let's make the playoffs and lose. That's right.
We're now the Cleveland Indians. We can beat the bad teams, and we're going to get stomped by anybody who has any talent.
You got to make.
We'll get better as the season goes. We'll be a good team before the season's over.
Somewhere though,
you got to make the playoffs to win the Super Bowl.
Hey, if they make the playoffs and they get stomped, who cares? They made the playoffs for the first time in fucking 30 years.
Here's the other thing is we got 4 more home games before we play the Steelers at home at the end of the year. Baker's got to win at least one more so Roethlisberger doesn't come back and tie the record for the most wins by a fucking quarterback in Cleveland.
God damn it.
Well,
that is a horrible.
We'll beat him.
I hate to tell you this, Mark Lewis Jr., but had they put Case Keenum in, they wouldn't have put points on the board. Okay, there would have been no 37 points on the board.
They would have scored 3 points and lost 34.
Right. And the defense would have given up more and more points to the Bengals because they, you know, at least like Tony said, Case Keenum had a defense, you know, when he played elsewhere, but with the Browns.
Well, we're going to beat the Steelers in the last game of the season because they're going to be so far up. They're going to be resting everybody. We will win that game.
There, I think you got that.
Sorry, Cindy. Greg Williams this is a name that cannot be uttered on the program. UDDERED. You cannot utter this word.
Wow. You're not going to ban her, though, because she's a girl. Don't ban her.
Because he's just, well, I know, but Greg Williams is starting shit in New York now with the Jets. You know, he's a troublemaker, and it wasn't that good. It's like talking about, Ryan. You know,
hey, we had Buster Screen back then, goddammit. That's why we were halfway decent.
Who was Rex Ryan's brother?
Rob.
Buster Screen's still in the league. He's actually doing pretty well with the Bears.
And he might be available for a trade. He's
bring him back.
We could possibly.
I believe we might be getting Peppers back. I've been reading.
Pierre Desir was another name that they floated out there. That was another former Brown that might come back. You know,
Jabril Peppers ain't a bad idea. He's been
he's on the block.
Well, I'm thinking.
Honestly, I got allergies. And
Hey.
I'm sneezing enough. I don't need peppers too.
There's a solution.
Oh, come on,
Craig.
it's better than Sadejo for
I'm
Christ's
thinking
sake.
anybody with one of the New York teams.
Dave, you're better than
Available.
Sadeo.
Hey, what did I
And
say,
that's not
Wable?
saying much.
What did I say that brought this? Come on, Moo. What did I say? What did I say? I mean, tell me what you know.
I know. Let's trade OBJ for
He's
Jabril
probably
Peppers.
just trying to pull a Biden on you.
I would.
Would you guys trade OBJ
Come
for
on,
Jabril
Moo.
Peppers?
Probably at this
Yes, and a 4th round pick. Yes.
You know, D-Cup Toe Juice is not going to believe in Baker Mayfield. You know, you better hope you don't die and go to heaven and get met in pearly gates by Baker Mayfield. All right?
Wow.
You better hope that doesn't happen because the gates will be closed and you'll end up going someplace south. Not just the winter.
Well, at least it will be warm there.
Meanwhile, DG is just
My
back.
people.
Yeah, he's been on a ventilator.
DG, my man.
Yeah, DG is like finally caught his breath. Good to see you, DG. Teacup is laughing at this point. It's like I still don't know what I said that got Wable.
They were all pissed off.
You know, me and DG one time had to kind of take over the show for a little bit when you fell out of your chair that one time.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking
You're the
pitcher.
fat man falling out of a chair, and then that's just
I think that was your Brandon Wheaton impersonation.
And your wife wouldn't help you up. And
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And thank
the writing was on the wall for that relationship.
just remember one thing: they abandon you once, they'll abandon you a second time.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Thanks
saying.
to the power of the internet, you can still watch that over.
It's
and
on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I have it on YouTube. I posted it. It's on.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need to
Chad,
actually-
I think it
we
was-
need to
yeah,
get
somebody
into a
recorded-
GIF and would just kind of recycle it. One of those things
It's
like
like
that.
seeing some Ninja Turtle flipped over.
Well,
on the wrong
DG
side.
was on the air. DG
Yeah,
was on the air with us when I fell out of the
And
chair.
Dave,
He just go, what the hell happened, man?
Yeah, it's like what
And Moo, in his normal fashion, said, "Keep the show going." So me and
Keep
DG,
going, keep going.
Keep
me
it
and
going,
DG was
man.
trying to.
I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer like Jarvis Landry. I'm a gamer. You know, if I were Odell Beckham, I'd be like a little girl,
Oh, my
Nancy
knee,
girl. Yeah, gotta
What
be
you
a
need to
gamer,
do is
man.
your Austin Carr impersonation of Odell Beckham with his knee now. My knees.
Oh, my knee!
Yeah, first I thought you were faking.
Austin Carr, singularly the greatest color commentator of all time. It's like, well, you know, Austin, there's, you know, there's 14 seconds left in the game, and, you know, Cavs are down 1, and, you know, who do you think's going to take the final shot? Well, and this is when it was Fred. I'm not saying anything bad about Fred McLeod, but he would say, Fred, I was in a situation like this, but my knee was bad. And it's like, what does this have to do with it? It's like, who's going to get the ball now? I don't want to hear about your fucking knee again. Yeah.
My knee.
Yeah. Misgivings, man. Misgivings of a career that could have gone further. Poor Austin Carr became better known for a drinking game than his career. It's really a shame. 43 years since 5-2. Thank you, D-Cup.
Yay. Weren't we like 6-3 under Mike Patton at one time?
Say what?
I think we were 6-3 one time under Patton or somebody.
And then I
Really?
think you lost.
Oh,
like,
you better.
We lost every single game after that.
Isn't Brett Favre, didn't he say he was suffering with the early signs of CTE? Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Let Brett Favre take over John Madden's position on the telestrator. He'd be like, this guy goes backwards, and this guy goes forward.
End up drawing a dick. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, figure. You know, this is my little daughter going to school on the bus.
Well, he did one of them circle things over here, and then he did another. And these guys had go routes, and then they had like the pocket over here, and then they were just Thank you.
Yeah, no, here's Wable coming back. What do you expect with a name like Odell? Yeah.
Oh, she's a great singer. And she's lost weight too.
No,
so
hey, Mabel's first girlfriend was named
Odell, not Odell.
Odell.
He was really good on Saturday Night Live last night. Yeah.
Are you sure that Odell didn't have a little extra equipment there, Wabel?
Yeah.
Wow.
If it was your first girlfriend, you may not have gotten that intimate, you know?
Was her middle name Lola?
Exactly. L-O-L-A Lola. Just like Cherry Cola. You know, it would be like, you know, I love you, Odell. I love you too, Wabel. We're just
This show has gotten right off the fucking tracks.
Like the bartender from Shrek.
This is like the old days, Tony. This is
This is great.
Oh, you know what you got to do now? We haven't heard this one for a while. You got to do the winning touchdown as Howard Cosell would have done it.
Okay, all right. In an up and down game that nobody would have expected, so bad that Spiro Detus was the guy calling the game. This is Howard Cosell with your Monday night halftime highlights. Back and forth they went. Down goes Frazier. Back to throw. With 16 seconds left in the game, Baker Mayfield has spiked the ball and goes back to throw. He throws the ball like a dirigible up in the air. Donovan Peoples-Jones right there. He catches the football in the end zone, and the Browns have added to the misery of the Cincinnati Bengals.
outstanding.
That was superb.
I thought Brock was going to say Myron Cope. I was going to slam my headset off.
No, please, no.
No, that would hurt your voice. I knew you could do Cosell, but Myron Cope hurts anybody's voice.
That's my impression, unfortunately. Okay. Well,
I don't think any of us have anything more to say except thank God we're breathing deeper and more relieved that I hate to think that we would end up 4-3 having lost to the Bengals and the vicious media attacks that are going to ensue anyway. I mean, quite honestly, it's obvious what this is all about. But I'm thrilled that, we can at least rest peacefully tonight. And tomorrow we'll have a much more diagnostic program about the game. But this just blowing off steam because
it's the most hilarious game ever for a long time.
It was a straight up, can you top this? It's just, hey, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that. I'm going to do this, you're going to do that. It's just, they're over there going, this has been a really entertaining game. I'm over here like Tony going,
yeah. Get the defibrillator ready, honey.
I'm like, I think that's a baker's dozen there, Bob.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning into this post-game show. I hope you had as much fun as I did watching this game. Back again on Head Radio at Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking more about the game in depth and analytically. And we'll see what the players, what the coaches have to say, and we'll go over what the Cincinnati side has to say too.
Do the Bengals show for tomorrow.
No, I mean, no, it's across, not down, right? That would be So everybody, take care. Have a good evening. Get good rest tonight. Watch your second and third football games, whatever it is, and enjoy yourselves. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads.